So the first lifestyle choice that individualists would say is behind health inequality is the idea of poor diet and drinking. So individualists would argue that health inequalities exist because of the decisions that they have made, and that healthy individuals make better choices than less healthy people. And particularly they look at diet and drinking. So they would say that healthier individuals have a better diet, they eat more healthily than less healthy individuals, and that drinking alcohol is, if you drink too much alcohol, it can have a significant impact on your health. So if you eat a lot of unhealthy food, if you drink a lot of alcohol, that you're probably going to be less healthy. And we can see this when we look at the diet of each social class to their overall health. So social class A, the richest people in the UK, the people at the top of the UK social structure, tend to be a lot healthier than social class E, the poorest people in the UK. All right, and individualists would say that's because people in social class A make better choices than people in social class E. So that could be due to diet. So we know that 28% of social class E women are obese compared to only 15% of social class A women. And 69% of social class E men don't eat fruit on a daily basis compared to only 45% of social class A men. So when we look at the richest people in the UK and the poorest people in the UK, we know there's a big health inequality there. Collectivists would say that's due to the way they're treated, that's due to housing, that's due to other factors. Individualists would say no, they're just making worse choices. All right, people in those lower social classes are making worse choices. They're not eating as well, they're not eating enough fruit, they're drinking too much, etc. And this argument is supported by a lot of individualists, and partly because it sort of seems quite straightforward. Well, if you eat less healthy, you're going to be less healthy. And they would argue that poorer areas have a culture of eating less healthily, drinking too much, and they would point to a recent study which showed that the number of hospital admissions with alcohol-related problems was nearly 8 times higher than those in the most deprived areas than those in the least deprived areas. So they would say, well, look, these people are drinking lots and lots of alcohol, and they've got poor health outcomes. The one is causing the other. However, this idea that poor health outcomes among people living in poverty is due to their own choices and is due to poor diet is rejected by a lot of collectivists. They would argue that it's not as simple as just saying, well, eat more healthily. Healthier food is often more expensive, and if you go to deprived areas, there are a lot fewer shops that are open there because they can make less money, funnily enough. And so it's much harder to get that healthier food. You maybe need to go to big out-of-town shopping centres or bigger supermarkets that aren't nearby. Those supermarkets, you might need to get a bus to get there. That costs money. So it actually can be more expensive to get healthy food. Also, remember, we know the fact that people who are living in poverty are more likely to be working longer hours and less sociable hours. So maybe they don't have time or energy to make healthier food from scratch. It's much simpler to get something and chuck it in the microwave. Um, and it's also often a lot cheaper, and people on really tight budgets may struggle to spend the money on healthy food. Um, it's also kind of not really true, particularly when we look at alcohol, that poorer people are making less healthy lifestyle choices. When we look at alcohol, there's this kind of uh, stereotype that poor people drink lots and rich people don't. But actually, a recent study showed that the percentage of the richest group who drink above recommended guidelines is actually higher in the richest group than in the poorest group. It's at 47% in the richest group and the 39% in the poorest group. And it's basically the percentage of binge drinkers is basically the same in the two groups. So often this idea of poor people making bad choices is actually much more of a stereotype, and it's about class. It's about rich people wanting to think that they're better than poorer people. And we don't look at actually, well, are rich people also making poor choices, but they're getting away with them because of their privilege?